The title suggests a moment set in early 1800s Virginia, during a time when slavery shaped every part of daily life and human relationships. It hints at a story where a plantation wife gives birth to triplets, and instead of receiving joy, the birth exposes the cruelty, fear, and prejudice that governed the society around her. The reference to ordering a slave to hide, the darkest one, points to how deeply racial hierarchy controlled even the most intimate parts of family life. It implies that the woman may have feared shame, scandal, or community judgment because one of the babies looked noticeably darker than the others, suggesting something she wanted to keep secret. It hints that she treated the baby not as a child but as a threat, revealing the dehumanizing mentality normal in plantation culture. Her fear also reflects the rigid racial boundaries of the time, where appearance alone could spark suspicion or punishment. The slave who is ordered to hide the child becomes a central emotional point. This person is placed in an impossible situation, responsible for protecting a baby while risking their own safety. It shows how enslaved people were forced into moral dilemmas with no power, often carrying burdens created by their oppressors. The slave's choice, fear, and compassion shape the underlying tension in the story. The title also casts light on how plantation households often hid their own realities. It suggests there may have been secrets involving race, lineage, or relationships that no one was allowed to speak openly about, especially if they contradicted the social order. The arrival of triplets intensifies this, because multiples draw more attention and force the characters to confront uncomfortable truths. The darker child symbolizes the hidden truths of the plantation world. It points toward complicated ancestry, unspoken connections, or betrayals that those in power refused to acknowledge. The wife's immediate demand to remove the child reflects her desperation to protect her status and her fear of judgment from her husband, neighbors, or community. The story implied by the title may explore how women in that time also lived under intense pressure. Even though she held privilege over the enslaved people, she herself was controlled by strict expectations of purity, loyalty, and obedience. Her reaction likely came from living within a system where a single rumor could destroy her social standing. The emotional conflict deepens as the slave is forced to take responsibility for a newborn who is technically part of the plantation family yet treated as disposable. The situation reveals the plantation's moral contradictions, where children could be both biologically connected and socially rejected at the same time. The title suggests a sense of urgency and danger for the hidden child. The command to hide the baby could lead to a story of survival, secrecy, and heartbreak, showing how a single moment created long-lasting consequences. It raises questions about what happened to the child afterward and how identity was shaped when someone had to grow up hidden. It also hints at the silent courage of enslaved people, who often protected children at great personal risk. The slave's actions might become a symbol of quiet resistance, humanity, and sacrifice within a world built on cruelty and control. The setting of 1802 Virginia gives historical weight to the story. It evokes a time when laws, customs, and power all reinforced slavery. This makes the wife's command even more chilling, because the system backed her authority completely, and the slave had no protection against punishment. The triplets themselves create a powerful contrast. 3 children born together but treated entirely differently based on appearance. Their fates may diverge drastically, showing how race determined life paths in a way that was both arbitrary and devastating. The title hints at the unnatural separation forced upon them from birth. The plantation wife's decision may escalate into deeper conflict as more people become aware of the secret. The hidden child might later reappear in unexpected ways, becoming a reminder of the truth she tried to erase. The story could follow how the lie affects everyone involved. The title invites exploration of guilt, silence, and the burden of maintaining oppression. It suggests that trying to hide a child creates wounds that time cannot cover, revealing the fragility of a system built on fear and deception. The story suggested by the title is ultimately a reflection on how racism damaged families, identities, and human relationships. By focusing on a single darker-skinned baby among triplets, it exposes the cruelty of a society that judged children based on skin tone alone and treated lives as problems to be concealed. The moment described becomes not just a scandal but a symbol of the larger tragedy of slavery, showing how even newborns became victims of a system that denied humanity to anyone who threatened its rules.